Hi, Jeff. Hi, Linda.
Howdy.
Let's start this.
Check.
I don't know if Mike is going to get here. I think he has one of the fixes we need. Let me see. Pass downs, nothing has changed, I don't think, because regional, all sessions are in. They're going to close. There has been a change in the operating structure. They created a new document. It used to be the governance document. They've rewritten it and republished it. So a whole new set of, they've reorganized it now that Archon is away and they're taking pen on it. Contributions are from last month. I don't think the SC's meeting until this Thursday, so that hasn't been updated. So I mentioned that Google had submitted their Falcon Transport Protocol, contributed it as part of the last meeting. I think that's still in ballot. Okay, any questions? Okay, so the next was the document, OCP document publication files. So a number of organizations besides this workstream is trying to move to Markdown, and the OCP staff hasn't quite made the announcement yet that they want to deploy this. So as part of allowing not only myself, but Mike and anyone else who's creating Markdown documents within hardware management. Oh, okay, yeah. I've created this poll in the profiles directory called docpubs. And so what it has is, I think it's a pull request.
So you're doing everything with a branch off a branch, or?
No, I'm doing a branch directly off
Okay.
profiles, so we can merge it in. So the issue is that everything in docpubs is developed in 2 scripts, and those scripts are private to the DMTF. So what I've done is I've created a how to publish document, which basically says you go to the DMTF docpubs and you download, you clone it, and then you replace specific files on it, which are OCP specific, namely these files: the logo, the OCP HTML template, which is how you create the HTML, and then last is the CSS. Okay. In this case, I'll need to rename that DMTF to OCP.
Okay. When you rename it, do you have to rebuild part of the script too, or?
No, I don't. No. All I did is I just have to modify, I think, one document, one of the build things to do that, to build scripts. So
Okay, so you do modify script.
yes, I do modify script, but those scripts I was going to put in here, except that's the entirety of the docpubs tool chain. So docpubs within the DMTF private has the build scripts, and then the build scripts -OCP. And that's to differentiate these 2 build scripts, or specifically for OCP, when OCP makes its decision to do some deployment and ask the DMTF for whatever permission they need, then those can be transferred over here, because I can't put them in here because then they'll be public, which defeats the purpose of them being in a private DMTF site, which is why the instructions. So in addition to that, so those are the files that were OCP private, and the documentation basically says when this becomes deployed within OCP, OCP staff will bless these files, because these were fast hacks by me in order to get it to look OCP-like. Okay, and so in addition to that, there is Oh, there's a how to publish document, which I'll go into, and the CFG file for that. And I built it. And so that's what you have at the bottom here. Oops. Yeah, down at the bottom here is HTML and PDF files um, based on that build. And I think I can actually open this.
How did you get an account assigned to this repo?
Did I get an account assigned to this repo?
Yeah, like we do in DMTF. In other words, how are you able to merge pulls? Because in both hardware management and in SMC, we aren't able to do that.
I know. That Jeff ought to sent mail to Kevin to get that straightened out.
Okay.
I told Kevin that both the SC rep and the top level project lead should have authorization to all repositories under hardware management.
Is there a rule about who's the top level project lead? Okay.
Yeah.
Because for work, what about Workstream?
For Workstreams, the top level project lead should be able to designate whoever becomes the administrator for that work stream. So
cool.
In the case of SMC, it should be Chad. I mean, it's just like
we have a problem. Chad designated some other guy for Google to be the project lead, and I don't know, man.
Oh, okay. That will get resolved.
Okay.
But that's the way it's supposed to work. And so what has happened is that OCP wants to move toward GitHub. That's kind of a plan that they told the steering committee. And in so doing, Kevin did the right thing. He said, fine, it's going to happen soon. Here's all these repositories that I've created in the hardware management, waiting for some direction as to how these things had to be constructed. So the GitHubs exist repositories because they're migrating the wikis. The wikis used to be on this private thing. So they said, why don't we just use the wiki facility in GitHub, right? And so it was like, oh, great. So he created all these repositories.
Oh, that's so much easier for the chairs.
Exactly, for wiki relocation, okay? But in so doing, he's opened up the rest of the repository. So people are saying, hey, I can create folders in here. I should be able to put stuff in this stuff.
Yeah.
But the rest of OCP hasn't rolled this out yet. So people are charging into these GitHubs because of, hey, this is the best thing in sliced spread. Let's go. And so they moved. And so I don't think OCP staff has kept up with it, which is why they haven't moved forward in this with this DocPubs thing either, even though they told me, yes, we're going to move forward. So I'm just moving forward and I'm doing what I can to get people who are interested in doing markdown document creation going with this toolshed. So basically, if you are a DMTF member, you can go clone this the DocPub tree, and then you can layer these files on top of it in order to get going with generating an OCP document. Okay, so once you've done that, and I'm trying to lead the way as you push into contribution, right? They're going to say, hey, this is not a official OCP template format. I said, yeah, I told you 6 months ago. Fix these things, right? Here are the scripts that we need to change. Here's the CSS files. If you don't like the font, go fix the font. But I can't do it. I have no authority within OCP to do any of this stuff. And you guys own the template. So next time you change the OCP template, you need to understand, you need to go modify these files.
All the repos, yeah.
Exactly. So it's hopefully it's a checklist on this stuff. I say, if you're not ready to do that, guys, you can't roll this thing out because everyone's going to have the same format, whatever is defined here, right? So.
All right, that makes sense. Thanks.
Okay. So so now I know who's on this. Is Mike here yet?
Yeah, he's here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I just
disappear.
I've been here for a good.
Okay, yeah. I just don't see who joins. So Oh yeah, so given that Mike has a markdown document and he needs to be able to generate an OCP PDF, that's
Or,
I think
you could press that button.
I know that. I know that. But my job is to lead other people to water, right, and give them the tool set that they can go do this. Chad or his designate now has a markdown document. But it's not the right format because it's got the table of contents, it's got all the stuff that needs to be stripped away now. I met with a DCMHS and they want to go to markdown. And so they just sent a mail to Bejan saying, we want to go. When are we going to make the move? So this thing's moving maybe a little faster than OCP staff wanted to do, but it's prodding them in the right direction. Okay. So on Friday when we do doc pubs, there'll be a pull request to doc pubs to add those 2 scripts with -OCP on them in the tools folder, just because that's the only case I can locate them where they're private to DMTF and not public to OCP yet until they decide what they're doing.
Okay.
Okay.
Tell them to hurry
So,
up.
all right. I know. So with this, if there are if you no objections, I'd like to go ahead and approve this pull request. And no, yeah, I'll fix it later. The only thing I wanted to change was change this to OCP CSS because that's what the actual documentation says, is that all these files, the logo, the template, and the CSS file all say OCP, which means I can now designate these as you guys own them, you guys fix them in order to deploy this. But I think I'll go ahead and ask for approval to do the merge on this. And then I'll just go back and do that rename on this file. Mike, any questions? You know best about the .pub tool.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if there's more we can do here to automate the process. Like even if it's just a simple script that someone could say, hey, run this script out of the root of the profiles directory, it will automatically clone and copy over files for you and make modifications, and then you can just run things. That might be something to consider at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah,
I'd say if this works for you for now, start with this, and then we can refine the process as we start to think of ways to make it easier to press that button.
yeah. Well, get people working on it, and then it will put pressure to get these template files and the CSS files.
Mhm.
OCP blessed as opposed to Johnny hacked. Okay. Okay. So with that, I think. Okay. That brings me back to my agenda. So now I can forward that to Chad and his designate. Okay. Next item is pull requests. So baseline management, there's an issue with it. There's currently a pull request for that. And does that fix the problem?
Well, actually, I didn't actually look at the change. So Linda, you added the read requirement.
Yes, I also removed the trailing
Okay.
period as you suggested. Yeah.
So I guess it's probably worth discussing if this is OCP baseline hardware management and it's supposed to be all encompassing, then I agree this makes sense. If the focus is we expect this profile to be consumed and applied to anything that's like a rack mount product. And we don't expect this to be used to test against individual submodules, then I don't know if we want to go with this change. So so John, that's I think that's more of a question for you as far as where do you see this profile being used to validate services at what level? So I guess Linda, your use case is thinking about like a modular tray and you want to test its service. It's not ever going to it's not ever going to have a rack mount or a sled type of chassis. And so at that point, do we think that this profile should even be used in that type of testing?
Since it's a baseline, so we still expect this can be used in general for our all products.
Okay,
But
so
but no, well, the original intent of baseline was baseline platform, right? That's all OCP knew about. And so it was a baseline for whether you're a server or you're a storage server or you're a switch. And that was that, right? Now, when the request came in saying, hey, we need a new baseline, baseline where the component, what's being tested is just a subcomponent of a system and not a full platform. My suggestion was, hey, great, go create another profile. Go create another baseline called the component baseline, and you guys can build off that. And go ahead.
So that's the distinction, and yeah, I was unsure how this would go, and I figured that may come up and say, even though we're calling this baseline, it really isn't just a general purpose baseline. It is a system level baseline.
Correct. And there was this attempt, I thought what we were doing was trying to recraft this to be both one for a component and for a system or platform. And I said, okay, it'd be easier, guys, just to create a new baseline and call it the component baseline and be done with it. And so I don't, we kind of agreed we want to go down this direction. And I said, and so I propose you guys go create a component baseline.
Yeah, it may be worth trying to rename this to make it clear as far as what its scope is, because I think I go down the same rat hole that Linda probably did, looking at, say, OCP baseline hardware management and thinking, hey, that applies to everything.
I think if we create something called the component baseline, then the distinction will be clear, because there's way too much slide set.
Oh yeah.
Just baseline,
okay.
right? So I can in the README I can say, baseline should really be system platform baseline, but that's legacy. So here you should be, if you're doing component, you should go look at component baseline.
Yeah, and Jeff Bolter also working on a new baseline, right?
I don't know. He said
yes.
he was.
So he is, and he's shared bits of it with me, and I think he's about ready to toss it over the wall. Mm-hmm. But that baseline is a service baseline. It's all about the bookkeeping software functionality that is in a good Redfish implementation, and that would apply across the board. It doesn't touch any of the hardware aspects. It's all about, am I showing the manager resource properly? Can I configure its Ethernet interface? Do I have account service? Do I have certificate service? Do I have the event service? So there's no chassis, no system, no other hardware subsystem. It's all the software focused pieces of Redfish that are that is trying to baseline. And I could see that this baseline would reference the service baseline potentially.
Exactly. I was going to say, I shoved out all that stuff in because I need something, but it has no detail, right? So
yeah,
if Jeff Otter is going to provide all the detail, I'll just point to that thing.
Yep, that's he shared me a draft. I gave him some feedback. I expect it to be tossed over the wall pretty soon when he gets back from his escapades in Europe.
Okay, so going back to the original issue, we should just generate a component baseline.
I think there should be a component baseline to satisfy Linda's needs for component level testing.
I totally agree. I agreed when we started this. I agree now.
Okay.
I don't know where we have that issue was. Oh, I know it was Linda who submitted it.
But the component baseline will also based on the baseline, right? OCP baseline.
No.
No,
It would,
no.
no, it would be its own, it would probably reference the service baseline that Jeff Otter's working on, but the component baseline would not reference the OCP baseline. Because it needs to be a standalone profile to test a component. Because I think that's
okay. But we also have a system level of, it's not just the component, we also have server, and then that the current baseline cannot
well, the current baseline is for that rack mount server. The type of server you're talking about, I think, is still going to be seen as a component, because it's a part of that modular tray.
Okay, so you're saying that we don't put those if implemented, but we can still have those use case in the
You could
baseline?
Correct, because when you're using that OCP baseline profile to test, the target devices are going to be full systems. They're not going to be testing individual components.
Okay, but in our point of view, it's if we can have that flexibilities, it helps our validation. So without that line, I think the people can use the baseline just for those three type of chassis, right?
Correct, and if you look at OCP defined platforms, it's going to be one of those three. So the the testing is done at a full product, not for an individual component.
So Linda, you're trying to use the existing baseline, which was designed for platforms and systems for components. And we're saying, stop doing that. Just create your own baseline for a component. Be done with it.
And honestly, there are other efforts that are going to want that component profile too. CXL being one of them.
Exactly. I see the days of platform level testing being good, but people going to want to do component level stuff. Just networking. I just want to test the damn NIC, right? You don't want to test the rest of the system. They said the next thing I'm going to do this. So I think the need for this component baseline is really necessary. And if you want, I'll create it. It doesn't take long, guys. Okay, so new tech. Great. And if you want, I'll go ahead and do this. Create a component baseline. Distinct from.
So I have a question. But we also discuss how can we create a component baseline based on chassis, right? There's not.
It doesn't need to be based on chassis.
Yeah, I would not include chassis.
Once you decide you create a component baseline that's new, you're on greenfield. You can decide whatever you want. You don't have to coerce the platform baseline to fit your needs, which is what we're trying to do.
Yeah, but does it refer to depends on the baseline, the current baseline?
No, absolutely not. This is a new baseline.
And if you'd listened to what Jeff Otter was talking about, he was talking about like a based service profile. Like if you're a Redfish service, And that way the baseline would include the service profile.
But a
Okay.
component,
But if you're
Component-
desktop, you might have something different. And so
So-
you wouldn't want any of that in it. Go ahead.
but I guess specifically when you look at component baseline, you look at the included profiles, that will probably have the service baseline that Jeff is working on. It would have no ties back to this OCP baseline.
So the component baseline or the platform baseline may include may reference. Sorry.
And maybe it's worth trying to create a bubble diagram to show
Exactly.
all
Yeah.
this inheritance tree, because if I know the swordfish folks, when they made all their profiles, it got messy really fast.
Mhm.
And there's the whole profile feature concept really threw things out of whack. But yeah, I think
I think it is worthwhile.
yeah.
Let's
So
lay
just
out what we, yeah.
And I think the key thing here is, just because it says OCP hardware management baseline, it doesn't mean that people have to consume it.
Right.
Because I look at like the PowerShelf profile. Actually, I think today we are referencing it, which is a mistake. But I would say that I'd say as soon as Jeff Otter pushes out that service baseline, I'm going to no longer reference the hardware management baseline. I would just reference the server baseline. Sorry, the service baseline, because I don't want to pull in all these platform specific requirements that don't apply to a PowerShelf.
Yeah, so can I suggest we do that new component baseline after Jeff has the new
No, we do not have to do these in stereo, right? We can create a component baseline today.
today?
You could
Really?
you could just make one right now, and you may create the requirements as such, saying, I'm going to ignore anything related to service functionality and anticipate that I'll intercept that with Jeff's profile, and then just focus on the physical aspects of what you care about a component. So you would fill out all the requirements that you care about for the chassis tree, if there are any, the systems tree, if there are any.
Right.
Because
we're trying to give you a green field, and you're trying
Yeah.
to put constraints upon yourself.
I mean that if you look at the profiles I've worked on for the infrastructure equipment, everything is very focused on what do I show for chassis and the power equipment and thermal equipment for those devices, and I have zero requirements at that level for anything else.
Can you, John or Mike, can you show me the example?
There was no example.
Oh,
So if not, it's simpler if I just take the AI to go create a component baseline.
Yeah.
And then we can go hassle it tomorrow, next time, okay? Or or you guys can comment on pull requests.
okay. Thanks,
Okay,
John.
and in so doing, can I strip the use case stuff from the baseline, existing baseline?
No, because you still need that, because based on the final platform, it might have sub chassis, and you don't want to fail those sub chassis.
Okay, so
you still need that requirement.
Okay, so the pull request that's outstanding, should we approve that pull request, and does that fix
I mean,
it?
I haven't actually done a full review of it, but if you're comfortable with it, then I mean, we can
Well,
merge
I'm gonna ask the person who filed the issue
Okay.
to go that if this fixes it, right? So
Okay.
because he's the one who said, hey, you just broke the baseline.
Okay.
Right. And so that's why my first thought was yank all that stuff out. But if you're saying we need it, then I'll make sure the fixes his problem and we're back on track with the baseline.
Yeah, because with the base, because when you look at a full platform, you could have 10 chassis resources, and you don't want to have that rack mount level requirements apply to all of them, because it could be surfacing those component chassis, which is valid in an end product. And you want to make sure you're not overly testing it.
Okay. What did he call it? Regression. That's what it's called. All right. Okay, I'll close with the guy. Oops. Okay. All right. Anything else with baseline? I think we have a path forward. All right. Server management profile. So I've started the branch to make those changes. Oops, this should be 1.0 because it's gonna reference the baseline. Hopefully it's fixed because it has the new power and thermal model. Okay, that's all I can say. I was just gonna start. I think there are like 7 outstanding issues. So I'm gonna start resolving and putting in that pull request. Cooling and distribution unit.
So I still have an action to break. So one, I need to make markdowns, but also Mick would like to see the profile broken down into having a cooling baseline, and then you can apply that with a CDU baseline or some other type of cooling equipment. I haven't done that yet, but he did give me some feedback based on the existing profile. He tested it against the public CDU mockup and made some updates. Some of them are questionable because just because this public CDU mockup fails validation doesn't mean that it's not a real requirement. So maybe we need to be making changes back into the mockup. I can at least go through some of those changes that he made now, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like we're making good progress. We've got him
Yeah.
engaged. So
Yeah, I need to work with him more offline to make sure that we're both going off in the same direction. So you'll need to stop sharing it. It won't let me. Yeah, they don't let me steal.
oh, I need to stop sharing. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. So first thing I notice, making thermal subsystem recommended. And I'm guessing when you look at some of the things down here, I'm wondering, it seems very odd that these devices may not have temperature reporting. I want to make sure that he's not just bending over backwards to make the profile work with our mockup. So this goes back to, do we expect CDUs to have an ambient temperature, to have an internal temperature, or some other types of temperature readings? Because it seems a little too permissive, in my opinion.
Well, wasn't that dealt with in the spreadsheet that they did?
I need to look at that more because I thought some of these were in there.
Right, right.
Yeah,
I would think the spreadsheet would be the definitive source and the
yeah,
markup just being
yeah. You're right, and I'll take a closer look at that because maybe I'm hoping that's the case.
Okay.
Cooling capacity, because that's a faceplate rating. I would expect that to always be there. That may not be in our mockup. Managed by, I would think would need to be there because you need to have a manager representation at some point. So it can't be if implemented. Some of these location properties, I could see maybe they only support service label. They just have that little sticker, and all these other ones are nice to have. So I'll have to look at that more. Hot pluggable, I would think you could always convey whether or not your filter is hot pluggable.
Yeah.
It's really going to be static. It's not if implemented. I'm hoping this is just a case of, no, this isn't a requirement that the thingy is hot pluggable. It's, you need to report whether or not it's hot pluggable.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I'm okay with these, but yeah, a lot of this is going back to the reservoir. Is it recommended or not? I assume all these devices have reservoirs, so I wouldn't even make this recommended. It's those types of requirements. So nothing drastically different from what he threw in there. It loosened up a lot, but I'm wondering if it's if he made it too loose, just to
Well,
accommodate
I can
the
see
mockup.
location being recommended, because you may not know or care.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, well, good.
All right. Yeah, I'll try ping him offline at some point.
Okay, I think that takes us almost to the end. So that CDU sustainability, Jeff Otter is out this week, so we can't go deal with that. And then I think we're just at issues. Oh, we have a new issue. Use case shadows. Oh, this was the issue, right?
So I mean, we could pull out, I guess as a first order thing, we can pull out the period. I'm still a bit skeptical because I look at the code for the interrupt validator, and it doesn't make any distinction. And again, it does dot separate segments to build up a string for uniquely naming the requirement to allow for multiple profiles. So I guess there could be a tooling fix to strip out periods before it builds that dot separated path, but I guess as a short-term thing, we can, I'd say, just take on part of Linda's change and remove the period from the use case title.
Okay, so one is fixed with that pull request.
Yes.
2.
2 is also fixed with that. It's you remove the
Okay.
period from the title.
And then 3.
So can for issue 1 and 2, even even we remove the period, it doesn't fix the issue. The issue is the way we fix is to add a real requirement, right?
Well, that's
Because the issue is not from the trailing period.
No, that's right. The first one is right.
I thought that
Mm.
with what they said that they removed the period and it works for them.
No. They are saying if they remove the whole thing.
If they remove the
really?
title,
Oh, they say remove dots. I try, it doesn't.
well, I would still expect they said they removed the title and now the failure doesn't show up, which I find odd.
I didn't see it fix the issue if I just remove the dots.
But they said they also removed use case title entirely, because in that case, the interrupt validator will fill in a default string of like no title or something. But I don't understand why it would no longer fail without the title, because you're still not meeting the requirement.
Wait, was he removing the title?
He's removing the key value pair use case title blah from the profile.
Are you looking at issue 1, 2, or 3?
1 and 2.
It says he's removing the dot.
No. Oh, I see.
Right? Remove the dot.
Oh, never mind.
You
Never
should
mind.
have
I read
quoted
that.
that. But
Yeah.
yeah. So
Okay,
from
never
his
mind.
standpoint, removing the dot fixes both of these problems.
I don't
So
see how.
I know. So I'll verify that he'll look at the pull request and it'll say whether that fixes the problem or not. And that leaves us with issue 3.
So given the scope of that OCP baseline profile, no, none of those other values apply. Well, maybe enclosure.
Mhm.
Uh,
I would say he should suggest which ones we should add, because
So yes, but can we add above all values to use case key? No, you can't add them all.
Right, because that kind of defeats the purpose of this, right?
Yes.
Right. So I will answer issue number 3 for him, and I would tell him for the 1 and 2 to go look at the pull request and see if that fixes the problem. So I'll mark this approved since we're already fixing it.
Be
Alright.
careful about approving it because I'm very confused about, because Linda just said that she also removed the period and didn't fix the issue that he's describing.
No, I approve the issue to be fixed. I'm not approving the pull
Well,
request.
what if there's nothing to fix?
I was fixing to say, you haven't proven there's an issue yet. You
Yeah.
haven't reproduced the problem.
All right, fine. We'll leave it up. We'll leave it up. Okay. We've had a discussion. I think this is the only issue. Back to agenda. Okay, and with that, I think we reached the end of our agenda. Yeah. Okay, guys. Thank you.
Thanks.
Far more productive. Thanks.
Bye.
So,
Thanks. Bye.